Welcome back to IGN Live in San Diego for Comic-Con. I'm Brian Altano. This is Marty Sleva and Wentworth Miller from Prison Break.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You're back.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
Prison Break is back.
Yes.
So I'm gonna admit something real quick. I've done a lot of interviews this weekend. Some with shows I've seen every episode of, some with shows I've seen very little of. I have seen every single episode of Prison Break.
I appreciate
and the
that.
made-for-TV movie.
Thank you.
So there is not a single person more excited in this entire building than me.
Awesome.
So what is happening? Can we get into spoilers?
We could try.
Like old
Okay.
spoilers or new spoilers?
Old spoilers.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah, twice. I died twice in the original.
What?
Yeah.
You're the first dead person we've ever had on our live show. Incredible.
Hard to believe.
Yes.
So you died the first time,
Right.
and we were like, okay, I don't know the George Bush quote of "Fool me once," the one he screwed up.
Right.
You died again. We saw your funeral. We saw
Right.
your grave.
Right.
Right.
Grieving
You didn't see the
widow.
hand pop
Yeah,
out.
grieving widow.
Yeah.
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 A little bit.
We didn't have the Carrie moment where the hand pops up at the end.
Right.
So
So how is
So
What's
Something
happening right now? Yeah.
What's going on? The reboot picks up, I think, 7 years later, and Sarah has moved on, my grieving widow. She's raising our child herself. Dominic's character, Lincoln, my brother, he's moved on as well. And then all of a sudden, it turns out that things are not necessarily what they would seem to be, and my character is actually alive in a prison in Yemen. And that's where we pick up.
Was that like the whole, like you got buried so deep that you fell through the earth and you ended up in Yemen? It was like a very...
My character is capable of many things.
Yeah.
That might be one of them.
I think one of the things I appreciate about the show is it's absolutely not a comedy at all. But
Bear with us.
bear with us.
Dark humor. too.
Yes, yes, but it is completely far-fetched in many of its premises, and there's that constant sort of, almost like Looney Tunes cat and mouse between the government and you guys and yourselves and the people you trust and the people you don't trust. The fact that you're in prison, out of prison. How many different times has your character broken out of prison now?
3 or 4
Okay.
at this point, yeah.
Going on 5.
It's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
Assuming the title of the show is not a spoiler.
What is the title of the show?
Prison Break.
I thought you meant the new incarnation. I was like, I haven't heard this news. What's the latest? I've been calling it the reboot.
Yeah,
Right.
there you go.
So one of the big things last time around was sort of towards the end there was that kind of government conspiracy angle, right? Where you couldn't trust the government, which I feel is more true than ever now. I don't know who I'm looking at.
I feel like we're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
Let's talk. So is that something that kind of plays a role in this? Have you guys been watching the world collapse over the
Yeah, I
last
mean, 7 years is a long time.
It certainly feels topical. We've got Paul Scheuring writing he wrote the reboot, along with some help. He wrote the pilot and kind of got the whole thing going, and his interest has always been, to me, it feels like very current events, very contemporary, and the reboot kind of is in line with that. It does feel like it's set somewhere out in the world today and does touch on some contemporary issues, for sure.
Now, one of the big hooks of the first season of the show was your full body of tattoos, which I was like, felt kind of bad that you would have to sit in makeup for 7 hours a day. It's kind of like what Jim Carrey did for The Mask, a documentary. Do tattoos play a role in this? In the original, they were the map of the prison, like sort of hidden in artistry, but...
And I got them lasered off.
Yes.
Which took about 30 seconds,
Yeah.
4th season.
See, this is what I love.
a deleted
How
scene,
self-aware you
that's
are.
fine.
Yes.
There are some comic book elements.
Yes,
for
yeah.
sure.
Which is fine. You don't want an entire season about you getting like laser removal surgery. Like
No,
that's
it-
And I wanted to wear open button shirts.
Yeah.
That's really what it came down to.
like the set is very hot. Just please let me do this.
So are tattoos back in some way?
Yes, Michael has a new set of tattoos. They are central to the plot. The difference is I only have to spend 30 minutes in the makeup chair, but they are every day, as opposed to the original, which was once an episode, 2 hours.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's a lot of your life. That's like it's a slice. Like you could make a
slice.
sandwich out of that slice of life.
Yeah, there's like that whole thing of like the average man spends a year shaving
Yeah.
before he dies.
Well, not all of us.
Not you.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering what percentage of your life was actually getting tattoos for that show.
I could have been online, like getting a legal degree. Or
You could have been catching
Yeah,
Pokemon in
such.
Pokemon Go.
Yeah, like a degree from DeVry University.
So, like the prisons themselves have always sort of been a character in the show. All the different prisons. What makes this prison in Yemen sort of unique compared to what we've seen before?
I think setting the show in Yemen is a nod to our international fan base. The show has fans all over the world, which we've always been very appreciative of, and giving the story this kind of international, global canvas plays into that. It's a nod, for sure.
Nice. And then in the sort of the 7 years since we've last been with these characters, TV as a medium has just grown a lot. We've had from the rise of networks like FX and AMC and HBO and Netflix and all these things. Like TV's better now than ever. Is it an exciting time to have a show like this now that? I don't know, not to say like TV wasn't taken seriously back in the 90s and the aughts, but like as of now, it's probably the highest regarded medium we have, which I think must be super exciting for you.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the fruits of what Prison Break and Lost and 24 kind of, we laid the groundwork for this, where there was a respect for our audience. Like we believed that, yes, they could pay attention, they could invest, they could follow complex interwoven storylines over multiple seasons, that there would be a kind of payoff if you tuned in and gave it your time and attention. And we're seeing a lot of that now. I think what will be challenging about the reboot is that, unless I'm wrong, it's going to be one episode per week.
Okay.
Won't be available for downloading. You can't consume all 9 episodes at once. So that might require some patience.
Yeah.
Which I actually still do appreciate, even in the Netflix era, because if you look at Netflix as a business model, you actually lose the sort of art of the cliffhanger a little bit. It's just sort of, they throw one at the end of the season, but all the other episodes melt together. Now, there's a lot of baggage that these characters have, but how much of that is going to be carried by the audience as they come into the show? If you've never seen the original, are you going to be like, I'm ready for this? Or is the backstory required viewing at this point?
I think you can appreciate the show as a standalone, but if you've watched every episode from the original series 3 and 4 times, and a lot of fans have, there are a lot of Easter eggs, there are a lot of wink, wink, nudge, nudge moments. So it works on 2 levels.
What was the reception like when you guys announced this? Were people just... Have people been asking you this for ages, even though they knew your character was gone?
It was feverish. That's the word that comes to mind, in the best possible way. The show has never really gone off the air, even though it ended in 2009, but it's been alive on Netflix and various other venues. I have people coming up to me all the time who are watching the show like right now for the first time. So for them, it's present tense. So there was a real kind of appetite for it, and that's why we're doing it in the first place, because we knew that the audience was still there.
Do you notice a difference sort of in the audience reception of something like your work on Prison Break compared to your work in the CW DC universe, which also has its own insanely rabid fan base?
Yeah, I appreciated that just on a personal, professional level, being able to play a character like Captain Cold, because I think it's quite possible, because Prison Break was so successful, I could have gone on and played 10 other roles on 10 other shows, and I would have still been Michael Scofield to a lot of people. Playing Captain Cold on The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow moved that needle for the first time.
Yeah, I love that. It's such the motley crew of incredible actors compared to character actors and folks everyone recognizes, brand new voices that those CW shows have gathered is something sort of special and I think unique. In TV.
It's the most fun I've had as an actor playing that particular part. As much respect as I have for Michael Scofield, there's a lot of kind of expositional heavy lifting involved in that part, and Captain Cold is just a good time.
Yeah, he's not a good dude.
So when is Prison Break back from the dead?
Last I heard was March 2017.
That's kind of a long time.
It's been a while, yeah.
What are we going to do till
then?
then?
Hoping for next week, right now.
And it's right now. He pulls out a laptop.
We all go run and watch it together. Like, this is great. And we just hang out forever like friends. Thank you.
You got a weird fantasy, dude.
Yeah. Well, I watched a lot of Prison Break. Wentworth, thank you so much for coming up today,
Thank you.
man.
It's my pleasure.
This is a great time. And best of luck with the new show. I will be watching it. I will be consuming it. And Prison Break forever.
Awesome. Thank you.
IGN Live, San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. There's plenty more to come.